excited.
Okay, Rebecca, queer love. You're a queer.
Yeah.
So tell me.
You gotta introduce me a little bit more than that because some people don't know who I am.
Rebecca Bloom, Seattle therapist, art therapy, fellow friend, professor, and
Studying to be sex therapist.
Studying to be a sex therapist, and a queer. Tell me your impression, just an overall impression of Queer Love season 2. What'd you think? Did you like it? Did you not?
I was obsessed. I watched it with my grown-ass kid. We screamed at the television the entire time.
Who are you screaming at the most?
That's an excellent question. Who was I screaming at the most? I was probably screaming at Megan the most. And Pilar.
What were you screaming at Megan about? Run from Dana?
We know your opinion.
No. I actually don't usually share people's opinions.
Okay.
I haven't really actually thought about it, but a lot of people online were saying, "Run, Megan, run."
Yeah. Well, I think so. First off, Megan is so clearly like a Semitic woman and like my type. Like, in fact, Eli and I were coming up with all of the people that Megan looked like that we knew. So, butch, hot, and like ready for love, but not ready for love. But connects so strongly to her second partner. For those people who no one can see me. I have this huge printout with everybody's name on it and their pronouns because I got in trouble last time for getting certain things wrong. So her and Haley's connection I thought was great.
Yeah.
I was voting for them. That
was their trial marriage.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of people were pulling for them.
And it crashes.
So you were also yelling at who else?
Who was I yelling at?
Wait, so what were you yelling at Megan about?
I wanted her to choose Haley.
Who else were you yelling at?
I'm obsessed with Bridget. I think that Bridget should become a sex therapist.
Okay.
I think that Bridget is maybe the coolest lesbian to ever be on TV.
The coolest lesbian to ever lesbian?
Yeah, I mean, the way she dressed, first off, the way she dressed was amazing.
Okay.
Like at the, when they asked them to get married thing where she's like wearing a coat that's too heavy and she has to take it off. I was like, that is so fantastically lesbian. Like, I wanted to look really good. I showed up in the wrong outfit for the current weather, but I needed to wear this thing to look cool. Like, nothing says queer culture like that.
Well, why was she wearing a jacket in
Florida?
Yeah.
Because
I think they're like Miami.
Because it was a cool jacket.
Okay.
I mean, I have like worn the wrong outfit so many times in my life because I was just like, this is cool. I should wear this. Like, not thinking about the context or like what anybody else would be wearing or what the weather is like.
Do you find, okay, people think of Seattle as being up north and cold and rainy and stuff. Do you find that you don't get enough opportunities to wear your cool jackets?
I would say the flip. I would say anytime I see a cool jacket, I buy it because I have too many jackets. I'll never wear all my jackets.
Yeah, like I
always, if I see a good jacket, if it has a hood, I buy that jacket.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not like completely in your end of the spectrum, but I have a lot of extraneous jackets, and I might go an entire winter never having an opportunity to wear it.
But you never leave the house.
So I never leave the house, so that's key. That's key. But also, now that I think about it, Seattle goes from, pleasantly 75 degrees to permanently 48 degrees.
Yes.
And although 48 isn't super cold,
it's a damp cold.
It's a puffy jacket cold, right?
Yeah.
And my cool jackets are not my puffy jackets. My cool jackets are November jackets or October jackets or May jackets, like the in-between jackets.
Which you very limited.
I never get a chance to wear them. I feel like I go instantly from no jacket leaving the house to my puffy black jacket for the rest of the year.
Well, and I've noticed my winter stuff, my winter sweaters, I've started to get like puffy sleeves or puffy body with like knit sleeves or the reverse. Staying warm It's funny. Speaking of queerness and clothes, I am a clothes horse. I own way too many clothes. I just went through my summer closet of things that I know I'm not going to wear, and there was an insane amount of stuff. Because I, want to look like me. I want to look unique, and there's like a little bit of a variance of who me could be on any given day. And sometimes clothes are like, I have to admit, like that one was too far off this. I'm not going to actually ever be
that person.
That's
interesting.
But Brittany is that.
So you mean Bridget?
Bridget.
Who else were you yelling at?
Who else was I yelling at?
Were you yelling at Mel or Marie or AJ or Marika or Ashley? Or you said you were yelling at Pilar. What were you yelling at Pilar?
I
don't yell at my half Asian sister.
I know. I felt for you and her. And her. I mean, her story just broke my heart.
I know.
That she was in the closet with her lover to her family for 8 years.
10 years. They've been together for 10 years.
They've been together for 10 years, but she came out 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah,
so they were in the closet. She was closeted about being partnered for 8 years. Like, that is so much work. That is work that makes people crazy.
Yeah. Reminds you of the old days, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I really, really felt for her. Mel bugged the crap out of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about her?
I think I am so influenced by the last episode where she would say nothing. And like, I don't know.
She basically said nothing throughout. She was very tight-lipped, reserved.
But at least when she was in her trial marriage with Dana, she was effusive.
Kind of, but Dana did all the talking. And Mel nodded her head.
And felt her butt. Yeah.
Yeah. Mel used the language of handsiness.
Which is, the butch language of love. Yes.
So is it Butch's responsibility to be handsy?
If you are in a butch top situation, every butch I know is handsy. It is the way that plus your hands are like your sexual organs. So like, it's like this double entendre, this thing that you're getting away with by touching your lover in public with something that you'll later fuck them with. Like it's, I was thinking about queer love. I saw something that, so we haven't talked about the host yet, and that there's a straight female host for this show. And whenever I asked anybody, like any queer person, like, hey, I'm going to be podcasting on this, what do you want to talk about? They said the fact that they have a straight woman host is just...
It seems like such a weird choice. I mean,
it's so awful.
I think it's hard to be a host, so I don't blame her. She was hired, right? But I do not understand the decision, because if your production, you're just screwing over whoever you cast as the host. If she were gay, then she wouldn't have to constantly signal the fact that she's not gay. She frequently has to say in their conversations,
my husband,
I'm also not, she'll say it responsibly, I'm not queer or I'm not gay, so I don't know what it's like. And it's like, well, why did you get hired for this gig? Now, I will also say that the hosts are always trashed on, and I do not participate in that.
And it seemed like the participants liked her as a host, which is huge. So she's able...
And maybe there's some kind of innocent outsider asking questions kind of a thing.
But I can't think of...
It is a weird choice.
But I can't think of another queer-focused reality show like...
it'd be
any of the drag queen shows. Like, can you imagine the drag queen show had only straight hosts?
Yeah, or if Love Is Blind had
gay hosts.
Right. It'd be fine with me, but it's an odd choice, especially when you're really trying to represent and you're sitting in the production room trying to decide who's going to be the host of your show. And I don't even know who that woman is. I don't think is she a famous person?
Is she the co-host of Ultimatum Regular Straight with her husband?
Is she?
That's why they picked her.
Oh, okay.
It's a branding.
Still, is she famous Anyway, so she's famous for Ultimatum,
Yeah.
regular straight Ultimatum.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. But but honestly, I don't think that the host has much to do with it because she's just kind of a facilitator of conversation.
Right. But in facilitating those conversations, I would say there's all of these things that she's missing that are specific to queer culture.
I would guess that even if the host was a lesbian, you would still think the same because everyone always goes into those larger group conversations like the reunion and stuff.
Right.
With all these hopes and dreams of certain questions being asked and certain people being called out, and it never works out. And people always blame the host. And I always say, you don't know what it was edited out, and the host is not in control of the show. The producers are.
Yeah, but also there's a strength that I think is it's. I won't say I won't watch the show again because, of course, I will, but they are missing an opportunity, and also for an Emmy because queer hosts always win the Emmys for best reality. It's been RuPaul for years and years and years, and then it was oh my god, I'm forgetting his name, Scottish actor who did. So anyways, they would.
I doubt that the host of Ultimatum would win any sort of Emmy because she's just not involved. You know,
it would just be better. Just be better.
I agree that it's a weird choice. I do not think it would be any better because it is known that the kinds what did you not like about the host? What did you not like about the host?
I would say this. She was fine, but she was so kind of passive and starry-eyed, and I would say it's a representation issue. It's
totally a representation issue.
Right. Like, would you have either of the two male co-hosts on to co-host this episode on Queer Love Ultimatum?
Who?
Would you have Bob or...
It doesn't matter who sits in that chair because the producers are in control.
No. I'm talking about you and me right now. There's a reason that you asked me to talk about this show, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm queer and I have a certain perspective.
And you like the show.
And I like the show.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's just speaking from personal experience that when I have a straight person who's kind of witnessing queer dynamics, they're often like, what's going on?
Yeah, she seems a little spacey.
Yeah.
But the design, I'm wondering what you wanted in concrete terms.
Sure,
like, did you want particular kinds of questions? Did you want hard hitting?
Well, this is also a problem because I don't watch any of these other shows, so I don't know what could happen. So I wanted the representation.
Totally.
I wanted somebody who would pick up on more of the subtler dynamics.
Yeah, I don't think that would have happened.
Okay.
Or if they did, which might have happened if it was
They
a
would
gay
edit
host,
it out.
they would have told the host not to ask those questions because production is in control and they shape the show that they want. And Ultimatum in particular is so hands-off, you know what I mean? They do not get involved. In fact, especially with Queer Love, I think during the reunion, they actually try to minimize the conflict because they don't want to hang gay people out to dry. Or is that the phrase? They don't want to...
Well, they didn't minimize the conflict.
They did minimize the conflict.
Did?
Oh, yeah. At the reunion, they could have asked several questions.
Okay. I mean, it felt really conflictual.
It was. And, and production amps up some of it for sure. Like they showed the moaning between Dana and Mel that was off camera. They were obviously doing that to drum up drama, right? And they edited it in such a way to make Dana and Mel look like they were way more involved than anyone else. Meanwhile, Megan and Haley were the most involved.
I mean, I could see that. You didn't feel like that was obvious? That was
Haley and Megan were way more involved physically and sexually and emotionally than anyone else by far. I believe Mel and Dana when they said they didn't fuck.
I like that they included that thing on what is sex.
Let's take a break. When we get back, I'll ask you. So what'd you think about all that? Sex fucking definitions.
Yeah.
Moaning.
Is it tongue? Is it fingers? Is it something else? I mean, it is a complicated issue in queerness.
Marie said the word intercourse, which I assumed was dildo strap-on related. No?
I mean,
Marie said the word intercourse.
Okay.
She said fucking means intercourse.
okay. Good to know for her.
I mean, for her, for
Right.
Marie, like...
I'm imagining Marie with a dildo right now. I mean, but I would say intercourse for lesbians could easily be fingers. Like, not everybody has access to dildos. Not everybody wants a dildo. So...
Yeah, I would assume that there's a wide variety of ways to please each other. you know?
Yeah. But I think...
But to me, it didn't really matter what everyone's individual definition of quote-unquote fucking is.
Mm-hmm.
But they were using it as a way to communicate with each other
Mm-hmm.
without necessarily defining it, which, was neither here nor there to some extent.
Right. Well, it
was-
is what can we get in the sense that you're saying it's what can we get away with, or what would not be betrayal to my...
The second one, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
people felt betrayed because they thought fucking was going on while the other person was saying fucking isn't going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I assumed that they all had an understanding of the gist of what fucking actually meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
And
you
I had an idea in my head as to
Yeah.
what they were talking about, but it didn't really matter what was in my head. They seemed to understand, but I don't know if they were necessarily talking apples to apples,
Right. Which is the case of like, if my girlfriend doesn't think oral is fucking, can I do oral on you? And will she consider that I've been cheating? But everybody whose partner had assumed sex felt like they'd been cheated on. And even Bridget, I was really surprised that Bridget was so upset with the kiss from Pilar to
Kyle. Yeah. Well, Bridget didn't see what we saw because Kyle is so reserved. We saw Kyle and Pilar having a big fight the next day about how Kyle didn't want to kiss Pilar at the club and turned down Pilar. And then Pilar later on just planted one on her.
Yeah.
And Kyle was essentially saying it was non-consensual physical contact, while also saying, I'm not calling Pilar a rapist, but it was particular. I had said no earlier in the night, and Pilar heard me and understood, and then Pilar, without asking, just made out with me, and I didn't know what to do. And that gave me a chance to talk about the nuances of non-consensual sexual contact, even in couples. They were barely a couple.
Right.
And because often in our culture, we have this binary between rapists and non-rapists. And there are a lot of things in between. In fact, I would guess that most uncomfortable violations occur in loving relationships, or at least friendly, good-hearted relationships.
Yeah. And I was wondering, too, if Pilar was just so excited to have the opportunity.
Right. She was clearly raring to go, which was another annoying thing about the show, I guess, in addition to the straight host, is that none of the cast members seemed to have talked with their people about what was expected in terms of sexual contact, right?
I felt like in the first season there was more sex between the couples.
Yeah, definitely. And it was filmed.
Yes.
They didn't have cameras in the bedroom this time.
Yeah.
Which was notable, or at least they didn't show any of that footage. I'm guessing they didn't have cameras in the bedrooms, but they kept getting in fights about, so in your trial marriage, you kissed, and it's like, well, and then the other person would be like, well, yeah, I thought, weren't you kissing your trial partner? And it just seemed like they all went into the trial marriages with completely different expectations. And I think some of them actually did talk. Like, I think Brittany and AJ after they after getting into their trial marriages, they met up. Remember?
Yes,
and I think they were talking about, because I think Brittany was freaking out, because I think Brittany was having a particular hard time with it, and they agreed. This is just speculative, that they were not going to get together with their respective partners.
Well, and I felt like Brittany and AJ met more than once. I felt like that's what was implied.
They met twice. Yeah, they said twice.
Because, oh my God.
Brittany was with Marika and AJ was with Marie.
Because Marika really accused Brittany of not really doing the show. And I felt like what she was saying with that was, you were still in contact with AJ. You weren't doing a trial marriage.
Right.
And she really wasn't. So this was the most shocking part of the show for me, was that everybody's dating everybody. Not everybody gets picked. Watching Bridget realize that she's not getting picked by AJ and panic and go with Mel.
No, Bridget. Oh, you mean what?
So
AJ went with Marie.
Right, but AJ and Bridget. So AJ's flirting hard and heavy with lots of people.
Yeah.
In the initial section.
Yeah.
Many people think they're going to get picked by AJ.
Yeah.
Bridget is strategic enough to realize she's not going to get picked by AJ and begins to panic. This is my perception. She begins to panic that she's not going to get picked by anybody. She quickly pivots to Mel, who I think she didn't really have any interest in, but seemed like a safe enough choice, and that Mel would pick her. Marie and Brittany don't pivot and try and work hard and heavy on anybody. And the most shocking part of the show for me was that they get Marie and Brittany get put together.
No. You're getting people mixed up. So we're looking at a picture.
Right.
So look at the picture. We have Kyle and Bridget.
Yeah.
And we have in the front middle, we have Brittany and AJ. And then on the right, we have Marie and Mel. On the left, we have Ashley and Marika.
Marika and
Brittany did a trial marriage.
Yeah. But so that's the pairing that was the most shocking. And
Brittany and Marika.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they didn't choose each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you have to sleep in the same bed for 3 weeks. I mean, I thought what they developed was very sweet.
Yeah.
But it was, I was like, that is like producer torture. Like, to do, and the fact that they agreed to stay on the show, like I was curious if it meant if they left, did their partners have to leave, and was there some financial incentive to stay?
People have left before. Mm-hmm. People have left on the other ultimatums, and I'm sure there's a massive threat by production, because if half the cast did that, they'd have to start over. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there's an option. I mean, at one point, Megan wanted to leave, and Dana bulldozed her and convinced her. So I just want to go through each cast member, and I want you to give me a thumbs up or thumbs down after the break. What do you say?
Okay.
Okay, so let's start from...
Whoa. Let's define, thumbs up, thumbs down. What am I saying? Like, I would date them. I like them on the...
That's a good question.
Content. Like, what am I agreeing to?
You could hang out with them socially without cringing. How about this? You would sign off on them dating one of your close friends.
Oh, good question. Because that was the question that somebody asked me. Okay. How would you...
So Dana, thumb up, thumb down.
Dana, the blonde.
See, so we're going top to top.
Dana would not want my friends to date Dana.
So thumb up or thumb down?
Down.
And Megan?
Big heart, thumbs up.
So Megan's interesting to me because likable for sure, but I think that given she said she was a super people pleaser, which was definitely on display with Dana, and I think that. And then she falls head over heels in love with Haley, and is saying "I love you," and Haley
Leaves her.
Haley totally understandably walks away from the trial marriage and immediately breaks up with Pilar because she has found true love.
Yeah.
Megan leaves Haley and goes back to Dana as if nothing has happened.
Right.
So I think Megan, given her upbringing and her infantilization maybe in her family or something, she has a lot of growing up to do before she can stand on her own 2 feet, before she even knows who she is, what she wants. She was telling Haley things that you would only say to someone if you're saying, we are going to be together.
She said, I love you.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And they were having sex the entire time.
Yeah.
Not that that's like the end all be all, but that shows how much chemistry they have,
Yeah.
you know? And Megan goes back to Dana as if nothing's happened. Haley goes back to Pilar as if something happened. And then Megan, when Haley and Megan meet up at the cocktail party.
You're way better at this than me.
Because I watch it so slowly. You know what I mean?
And I'm just screaming at the TV eating
and
lasagna.
I'm taking notes, you know.
I'm a newbie.
So, I'm a weirdo in that way. But Megan meets up with Haley at the cocktail party and is like, what are you talking about? I didn't say I love you. And Haley's like, what is happening? And I don't think Megan was playing a game. I don't think Megan was lying.
No,
I think she's kind of
entered into a reality.
I think she's kind of a child.
Yeah.
Because of the way she was treated. And Dana fills in those gaps. Dana tells Megan what to do, and Megan follows. And I would not recommend if I would say I'm sure Megan would be a great friend and fun to hang out with and a good person, but I think Megan has a lot of living to do before she can step into who she is, what she wants. So for Megan to say, if I were to recommend to date someone, you know, if Megan told my friend that she loved my friend, I would say, you have no idea what that means. Not that Megan's lying or deceptive in any way, but...
Is this a 1 on the Enneagram?
Whatever the pleaser is, you know what I mean? So...
which I should say, if you've ever been on the other end of it, it's very entrancing, right?
Yes.
This person seems so open-hearted. You're so clear that...
And you turn around and they fall in love with someone else.
Yeah.
Because someone with a bigger personality came along and you're left in the dust. And you're like, what happened? Yeah. Kyle, thumb up, thumb down.
Love Kyle. Thumbs up. And their parents were kind of... There was another dad that was really awesome, but their parents kind of stole the show.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I think it's because I'm half Japanese and half white that I love seeing adult kids the exact in-between genetic manifestation between their parents. Like seeing Kyle with her parents and just like, my God, yes. There was no cheating. There was no adoption there. That's like right in the middle of those two people. Thumbs up with Kyle for sure. Bridget.
If Bridget was 20 years older, I would big heartthrob for me. They're so young that I have to keep this appropriate, but I think they are just the awesomest, coolest person.
Oh, I see. So you're saying
crush level.
Yeah, because Bridget's in her 20s, you're like thinking you're a creep if you if you say that
she's 25.
No, Marika was 25.
Bridget's also really young. They're all like...
Bridget was 28.
28. Still not acceptable.
29 today, probably, right?
Okay. Not acceptable.
I don't know. So that's unacceptable? 54, 29?
I think so.
I don't know. I feel like it's not...
So you're saying I can have a crush. It's a faraway crush. She's so cool.
I don't think Bridget would mind if a 54-year-old lady had a crush on her.
Okay.
I don't think she'd be creeped out by that.
All right.
But would you recommend Bridget date someone?
Yes.
Okay.
And share their clothes. Go shop. I could at least go shopping with me one time as a friend.
What if Pilar said, you need hair like mine, or you need a distinctive haircut of some sort.
If Pilar said that?
No, sorry, Bridget.
Oh, Bridget. That haircut is very popular in the lesbian community right now. The queer community. Yeah.
It's sort of
curly bangs, kind of almost mullet, but not quite.
Right.
Mullet adjacent.
Mullet adjacent, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a long mullet. All right, Pilar, thumbs up, thumbs down.
My heart goes out to Pilar. I don't think we'd be great friends because she was in the closet for 8 years with her partner. Like, we wouldn't have a ton in common, but I just feel like she's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, maybe it's the half Asianness, but I very much identified with Pilar and thought I thought Haley and Pilar were two of the healthiest people I've ever seen in reality television.
Really?
Oh yeah, the way that they handled things when Haley went home and broke up with Pilar, their breakup conversation, it was one of the most intense breakup conversations we've ever seen in reality TV. These are actual real people. This isn't like The Bachelorette and they met 2 weeks ago. These people have been dating since they were 18. They're their very first sexual and romantic partner. They're high school sweethearts. They look like they could be sisters in some ways. They're just so in sync with each other. And that conversation as they were breaking up, I mean, Pilar's being dumped and the way that she was handling it, and no hostility, no attacks, no drama, just sadness and questions and grief. And then the way Haley took care of Pilar after, it was just one of the best examples of differentiated pain. You know what I mean? And also the way Pilar handled taking Haley back without punishing Haley or getting too paranoid about it. You know what I mean? Haley was telling Pilar off camera a lot of things that were happening. I don't know. It was just, I thought it was, I'm sure other cast members could also be similar to Haley and Pilar, but they didn't go through a storyline that presented their personality as well. You know what I mean? Now, I will say that Pilar did non-consensually kiss Kyle.
Yes.
I'm sure alcohol was involved. Doesn't excuse it.
Yes.
But I also think that Pilar thought that was okay.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But
and
I also think that Pilar is kind of a horn dog because when Pilar and Haley broke up and they were hugging goodbye, Pilar started grabbing at her shorts, you know what I mean? And Haley's like, no. And so I think Pilar, she got libido, and that's not an excuse, but I'm just saying there's kind of an issue there, Right.
But I also not that I want anyone to ever be in an unconsensual situation ever, but let's just be honest, it happens. And to be able to repair from it is really important.
Yeah, and they did for the most part. Pilar got a little up in arms the next day, but Kyle isn't the best communicator about it. Kyle isn't to blame for any of that, and Pilar should have understood. But I think that it's another manifestation of lack of conversation and guidance, maybe from production, about what the expectation is in the trial marriages. You would think that there would be some kind of conversation of, okay, y'all, you're heading into a trial marriage. You're going to be sleeping together in the same bed. It's your choice as to whether or not you have physical contact, but you must have a conversation. You cannot depend on the other person having the same expectations. If you're thinking you might make out at some point, or you think you might go to third or even home base, that's great. We encourage that, but have a conversation now. I want you all to turn to your partner and say what the expectation is. Is there a hard no? Is there a soft maybe? Is there a enthusiastic let's go?
But do you think that production doesn't do that because they want the drama?
I think so. I have,
and I should say, there's no sex therapist consent coordinator on these shows.
No.
I think that's part of it.
Well, they're all adults, so they should know. I think personally, it's not hard to intuit that you should communicate about, especially with your original partner. It seems like none of them had even had any conversations about it at all, except for Brittany and AJ.
So I was surprised of how much my sex therapy training was on consent, understanding what you want, being able to ask for what you want, saying that most people have no skills in this area.
Yeah. That's it. And I said that in my reaction videos. It's such a weird scenario, and there's no protocol. It's not like this is the 5th time they've been through something like this. You know?
But also, I think you can set those boundaries, and then something happens, and in the moment, I mean, this is like human history 101, right?
Yeah, but I was under the impression that they had no expectation. Like, people went, like they would leave their original relationship with different ideas about what was acceptable in the trial marriages, and then something would happen, and they would get in trouble, and they'd like, well, wait, weren't you getting together with your person? I don't understand.
Well, and I think, isn't it the model that some people have that I won't ever get cheated on, this won't ever happen to me?
Right. Brittany seemed to kind of be in that headspace where she's the one doing the ultimatum with AJ. Brittany was the one I'm assuming was the person who reached out to the show to be on the show because she's the ultimatum giver. And then when AJ starts dating people, Brittany's starting to freak out, which I get, but you can't get angry if you're Brittany.
Well, and then also in the final show, Brittany is like, yeah, that's just who AJ is. I think in the moment when you're with that partner, it's okay. Their behavior seems more understandable, but in reality, when you're watching them potentially hook up with somebody, if you're in a monogamous relationship, it can be incredibly painful. I mean, she just seemed to be losing. Totally.
Yeah. I could see the fight inside Brittany where she would even say, well, it was my choice to be on the show, but I can't. I mean, she was coming unglued, which I can totally relate to. And I would even say this. I'd say, if I were with my wife and I was watching her flirt with someone across the room, I don't know what I would have so much distress. What would I do? I don't know. I think I would just want to run away or something. Like it would be extremely upsetting.
And
but I also wouldn't sign up to be on a fucking show like that.
I mean, there's another piece here. There's a tremendous amount of masked butch presenting women on this show. But this thing in queer culture where butches and masks are more desirable and femmes are on the bottom rung.
You told me that last time, and I thought about that during this season. That is interesting.
So
I got the impression that
all
top masks are fewer.
Yeah, well, there's always been a butch mask shortage, yes. But it's interesting to me that all of the mask butch presenting people get, quote, picked, and then the two femme folks left standing are paired together. Like, I think that is specific to queer culture, and also, in straight culture, they would never do this. Make the men choose from each other and the women, right? It just wouldn't happen. So I think it is specific also in gay male culture. If you're more effeminate, it's like there's kind of this less attractive factor than like butches, heavily masked men are kind of coveted. I think it's chilling out over the decades. It was super intense when I was dating in my 20s. As a femme woman in Seattle, I was like a dime a dozen. And, mask folks were so much more like, they all had like 3 or 4 girlfriends because we were all like, But it is a very...
Is that because of sexism?
Yeah, I think it's internalized sexism. I mean, I would say the switch is huge now, that this kind of femme power, kind of sexy mommy vibe. Like, you'll even see that in the personal ads, like sexy mommy vibe. Like, oh, that's new, that kind of nurturing feminine woman is seen as just as desirable as a butch or mask presenting person.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, Haley.
Okay, so somewhere I have a distant cousin who is a food specialist and created the best bacon flavor. And so I've always had this part of me that's interested in food science. And so Haley had the coolest job out of anybody. I remember that part where she's like, I invented half the protein bars in the grocery store. And I'm like, that is amazing. Like, I would love to hang out with you. And then her dad was a frickin' superstar. So, and she seems cool. Big thumbs up.
Yeah, big thumbs up, Haley. Marika.
Marika and I could not last 2 minutes in the same room together.
What do you think of her at the reunion? Because
That
all of
was
a sudden, this other side of her came out, I thought.
Yeah, that was really scary for me. That like all
the way
season
the way she's treating Ashley.
Yeah, she's kind of meek and like, oh my God, you're so cute and I love you so much. And then at the reunion, it's like this vulture comes out.
Well, I think that's the way Marika has been behind the scenes with Ashley. I don't think that's the first time Ashley's seen that.
Yeah, well, she runs out of the room crying.
Yeah. And Marika lays into her even more.
Yeah. A+ for Butch's crying on this season, by the way. So many Butches crying.
Totally. I agree.
But yeah, Marika and I would be like oil and water. I don't like that kind of passive and then the talons come out. That is not my style.
Ashley,
I'm going to get in trouble for this. I think Ashley was the most blah of all of the characters.
Blah? The most meh? Yeah, I don't think...
Meh.
Why would you get in trouble for that?
Well, I don't know. I get in trouble for saying
No. I'm pretty sure that's the consensus, is that Ashley was...
good for her. She seems like an amazingly sweet person.
Yeah.
I loved watching her and Bridget together. They were so fun.
Yeah.
I think she deserves a very loving partner.
Would you do thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs down for me personally, but her description of same-sex intimate partner violence was really important.
Yeah.
And you could see that she had truly suffered. Like, she got beat up in front of cops, and I mean, it was terrifying what she had been through. So that shit damages you for life.
I liked Ashley because I felt like I had a lot of friends who were girls growing up that were exactly like Ashley. As a jock, I hung out with a lot of jocks, and she comes off as
sporty,
as a dozen sporty jock girls that I grew up with that played soccer and basketball.
But thumbs up for her for saying I'm not marrying you. Like, she said no, and I think that's really brave.
Yeah.
Especially when you're being filmed and the whole thing is like, marriage is the most important thing.
Right. Brittany, thumb up, thumb down.
I think Brittany would be a blast to hang out with.
Yeah. I think Brittany has a good head on her shoulders.
And what is this business that keeps getting referred to?
Yeah. I can't remember what it was, but apparently she's very successful. Mm-hmm. So good for her.
Also, like, most amazing outfits of all time.
Really?
Yeah, there was like
Stacy and I will be walking around. The other day, where were we? And
you left the house. First off, congratulations.
Yeah, we were at the art fair, Seattle Art Fair, and Stacy said, like, "Oh my God, that woman was wearing like a thing on her butt," or I can't remember what she said, but I was like, "Huh?" And then she said, "Yeah, and her shirt was done." I'm like, "Huh?" And I'm not an oblivious person, but I think I just don't notice people's outfits. I definitely...
You should go back and look at all of... Somebody must have done a Britney outfit. I mean, her outfits were unbelievable.
Okay, well... I'll take your word for it.
I would love to see her closet.
AJ.
AJ seems like a lot of fun, but also is that magical butch archetype where when you're in their light, you feel like you're the only one... only to realize the light is turned off and focusing on someone else.
Yeah, AJ, I would do a soft thumbs up, but I got the impression that AJ often was trying to be a good partner, not necessarily to Marie, but I don't know. There's
some serious... I mean, the reason they're there is there's a self-esteem issue that their partner is so much more successful than them.
Yeah, but also AJ seemed very confident and differentiated in all the things. I mean, the way they edited it, it made AJ look like she was a dog, that was playing Marie. Or, well, what do you think that whole thing was? Like, AJ
was playing the game.
But when
sure.
AJ chooses Marie, because AJ had...
I have to look at their pictures. And
AJ had pick of the litter. Because, there
were 3.
Yeah. But AJ chose Marie.
Yeah.
So then when...
Well, they said they wanted something different than what they had. And they picked... Marie, who is less alpha than Brittany.
But then AJ and Marie, at the trial marriage, very quickly, it seemed like there was no chemistry.
Right, because Marie is going in really wanting a trial marriage, and AJ is still 100% still with Brittany in their mind. AJ is not entering into a relationship with Marie. AJ is just playing the game for the TV show.
Right. That's the way it seemed. I also think Marie wasn't super interested in a trial marriage either. I think Marie was also pretty stressed out about Mel and Dana right from the get-go. But anyway, AJ was harder to read. I think AJ, although AJ was...
I mean, AJ talks about themselves in third person. That says a lot.
Yeah. There was that whole montage.
I mean, if I kept saying like, well, Rebecca thinks, blah, blah, I mean, you would get a little weirded out after a while.
I didn't get narcissistic vibes.
No, but like, there's a persona.
I think there's a distancing. I think
Yes.
AJ, probably for a lot of good reasons, puts up walls.
Well, and when you hang out with butch women, this is very familiar. That like every moment in society, if you are walking around in men's clothing, you get noticed. You are different. Things get projected on you. You don't get certain things. You have a harder authority treats you different. It's a lot. And femme women can, quote, pass and kind of slip around in society and choose when to come out. If you're a butch woman, you are out 24/7.
Yeah.
And people have thoughts on that. And that makes you protected and guarded, which is part of the butch femme dynamic. If you haven't read, oh my God, Boots of Leather, something of Gold. There's a famous book about butch femme culture in the 50s. Boots of Leather, Slips of Gold?
Slippers of Gold.
Slippers of Gold.
The history of a lesbian community by Kennedy and Davis.
Yeah, this dynamic is very old, at least in American society.
Lesbian community in Buffalo, New York from the mid-30s to the early 60s.
Yeah.
Oral history. Thumbs up, thumbs down. So, but I would give thumbs up AJ, particularly seeing AJ with Brittany in the latter part of the season. Thumbs up, thumbs down, Marie.
Marie and I would not get along. Thumbs down.
How come?
She is so protected. And, she talked about her history of why she's so protected. But I don't do well in that dynamic. I need someone that can kind of come clean and be emotionally available. Not in a raw pain. Like, there's a way in the final show where she's just like her raw pain. So I would say it's that 0 to 60. Like, I need someone that can talk about their pain at like a 20. And it can go up to a 60, that's fine. But like, I need to be able to connect with someone. And if it's just everything's fine, explosion, that dynamic is really hard for me.
I don't know what to say about Marie because she was in such a whirlwind of circumstance, right? Because we see her in the very beginning of the season and we don't really know any of them very well. Then we see her with AJ, and right from the beginning, things aren't going well. And right from the beginning, Marie is hearing that Mel and Dana are really connecting. So Marie is just in a whirlwind of hurt. And then when they get back together, Mel still wants to be with Dana. So I don't know if we know who Marie is on a good day. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about Mel or Marie. Sorry, Mel. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Big thumbs down.
Why?
too emotionally shut down. Obviously, living with a chronic illness is hard, but I need to hang with people who can kind of disclose. I'm thinking of this one student that I had. I've seen this a couple of times where people have a chronic illness. It's obvious, but they refuse to speak about it. And it's such a huge part of what's happening. It just makes them really hard to spend time with because you're like, it's the elephant in the room. You're like, something's going on. Why can't we just talk about it? Mm-hmm. It makes it so much worse.
Yeah, I'm more positive with Mel. I don't know if it's just a vibe thing that I can relate to or something. If I have a lot of friends like Mel. Mel had what sounds to be a horrific childhood. She did disclose some things, but the things that I heard, I think, were pointing at horrific abuse and neglect growing up. I took notes on it. I mean, do you want me to remind you of the things she said? What?
You don't need to.
It's just like sprinkled in these like little things. Mm-hmm. Not that means that Mel has a free pass on everything, but I think that at the very least, I would say that Mel is a strong survivor of a lot of difficulty and has reasons for her way. But even in spite of that, I don't know if I'd recommend her as a long-term prospect partner. But as a friend,
if your friend shows up with someone they've been dating for a while and that person is completely shut down, would you be like, yes?
I mean, it depends on what shutdown version we're talking about. You know, if it's shut down and angry, then no, I don't like that. But if it's shut down, kind of like Ashley is shut down, you know, then it's a maybe, because being shut down and content, I think Ashley is shut down and content. I'm not a fan of that. Like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to hang out with that because it's distancing and hard to reach. It's lonely if you're with someone like Ashley, and I think Marika felt that. I think Marika has her own issues.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. What was most interesting about that dynamic was Marika kept saying, like, show me romance. And like she's asking it from someone who clearly can't.
Right. But I also think that Marika, due to her history before Ashley, maybe early childhood, has a schema that makes her feel like she's in a constant state of being abandoned and betrayed. And I think both are true. I think Ashley is shut down and hard to reach and is trying to be there, but is just kind of blank and internal. And Marika is wanting too much. Even if Ashley were to show up, I think Marika would still find a way to feel betrayed. So I think both are true. But it was hard to read because the way that Marika was saying, you know, she's like, I just want romance. And then when Brittany bought her flowers during the trial marriage, Marika's just like, oh, this is so nice. Like, you're thinking of me. And Brittany's like, I barely put any effort into this, and you feel seen. Like, what were you going through? So I think that's true. But I also think that when we see Marika verbally abusing Ashley at the reunion, you could see how, being Ashley, you would be a little scared of opening up, you know?
Yeah.
So
if you know that's lurking underneath, how are you going to be vulnerable?
Right. So, so for Mel, I don't know. I just felt like I could relate to Mel a lot in some ways, maybe as a client or something. I'm not quite sure. But I would say that Haley and Pilar by far were the most identifiable with for me and the most enthusiastic thumbs up. And I really, really hope that they stay together and live a happy life together. Maybe with occasional polyamorous like dalliances.
Well, you know, it's very popular in lesbianness to go to the lesbian night at the club and make out with someone in front of your girlfriend.
Sure. Well, maybe, you know, what or a different Burning Man dalliances, you know? Like, I think Pilar, and I think Haley, you know, as well, because they haven't sown their wild oats.
Yeah.
you can sew on the side. You could do some side sewing.
I mean, maybe that's a service you could offer as a side sew coordinator.
Yeah. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but gay guys are much better at this.
Oh, gay guys sew a lot of sides.
But
There's a
they're
lot of
also way cooler with
polyamory.
Yeah. While staying strong in your relationship.
Yeah. So Bob the Drag Queen, one of my favorite comedians, did this really funny routine about what is attractive to a straight woman and a straight man. And then he did this thing about what gay men want. And he was saying with the rise of these location apps, gay men just want proximity. Like, they're not, like, for sex, they're not, you don't need to cook for them. You don't need to be clean. You don't need to be nice. Just, are you nearby? And that's a real different dynamic than the way that women are trained, which is, you must offer me. I mean, I think what Marika was showing was, like, what a lot of women are trained is, like, love is acts of service. And if you're not getting that, you don't feel loved. And therefore, I heard this crazy, it's not crazy, it was just new to me, the statistic that women need 45 minutes. The average woman needs 45 minutes of foreplay before she can feel ready to have intimacy. And, that's really different in gay male culture. Like, are you 10 minutes away? Are you available now? Is enough to get turned on and ready to go.
45 minutes, like, in bed, naked.
I'm sure just like in that clip of like, what is sex? What is kind of foreplay romance? But you hear this a lot of women are like, I would like to go out to dinner first. I would like to have an intelligent conversation first. I would like kissing. I would like caressing. And then I'm ready for penetrative sex.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked with a lot of people on these kinds of things. And the generalization that I will say about humans is that no one likes to feel like a piece of meat unless they're kind of into that sort of thing.
But there is a whole thing.
Yeah, but most people don't want to be treated like a piece of meat all the time, at least. They want to be considered while being an object of lust for their partner. Mm-hmm. They want to be an object of lust. They want their partner to want them, to need them, to desire them. They want that energy. It makes them feel sexy and wanted, and they want their partner to enjoy sex and their own body is a part of their partner's enjoyment of sex, and all that stuff. They want that, but they also don't want to be used, right? They want to be considered. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to be in interaction. So if you're just treated that way, like someone just comes up to you while you're doing the dishes and just tries to go at you, it feels one-sided. Whereas the dinner and the talking and stuff, I think, is a way of saying, I want to be with you as a person emotionally and an object of your desire.
And this is the rise of the term sapiosexual, which is that we need to have an intellectual connection before I can have sex with you. I want to give a shout out to a different podcast, which has been so helpful to me. So I think my algorithm is changing and I'm now getting suggested all these sex positive podcasts. And Sniffies, which is one of those location for gay men sex apps, has this amazing sex podcast called the Sniffies Podcast. And it's got two hosts on it, both gay men. And they cover all kinds of kinks. Like I've listened to the beach sex one.
Beach sex.
I should say nude beach leading to beach sex.
Well, either way, I mean, sand and lubrication and crevices and friction do not mix. There's a reason why they call it sandpaper.
So there was a great one on male chastity that I learned so much. There was one on trans men cruising in gay male spaces. There was another one on daddy dynamics, which was great. So if you're looking, I recommended it to my non-gay male clients, and a lot of them are like, I'm getting so much out of this because there is a way that gay men talk about sex. in a relaxed way that is, people get a lot out of it. So if you're looking to get into all these kinks and think about it, check
The
out
Sniffies podcast.
Excellent. Thumbs. You know what gets a thumbs up? The Sniffies podcast.
The thumbs way up your wazoo.
With no sand.
Yes. Unless you're into that sort of thing.
I am not.
And if you are, God bless you. Final word, Ultimatum Season 2, Queer Love. What do you say, Rebecca? What is it?
Thumbs up. Watched every episode. Highly entertaining TV. Highly entertaining conversations with friends and social media afterwards. They're on to something. There'll clearly be a season 3, and we'll watch it and talk about it because we're hooked.
What were all your friends saying about?
Oh, so much. Definitely people wanted to talk about what makes a healthy dynamic in a relationship. People really wanted to talk about the different pairings and the dynamics in the pairings. I mentioned earlier the co-host stuff came up a lot. But, we don't see ourselves represented that much. Like, there's the L word. There was a horrible storyline on the Sex and the City reboot. But, we don't see ourselves that often. So to get to see ourselves at all is very exciting. And to talk about what our relationships look like, what love looks like, to watch our friends and family interact with us. This is all like a first.
Yeah. I think it's great for representation, for normalization.
I should say One Mississippi is a great representation of queer relationships.
Right.
But she's pining after a straight woman. Anyways.
I love that show.
Love that show.
Tig Notaro.
God bless Tig Notaro. Who gets a thumbs up?
Tig Notaro.
2 thumbs up.
Well, but that's the pining after a straight woman. That's what really happened.
That's a famous.
But no, but that's really.
I know it's also a famous trope.
Right,
though.
but that's
their story.
That's their story. Yeah.
Now they have twins.
So obviously she's
Right.
not straight. She's just living a straight life.
Yeah. There's the best quote in that show when the partner finds out that Tig has sex with men, and Tig is like, a saggy ball sack, saggy breasts, does it really matter? And I just think about that quote all the time.
Yeah. The thing that I see when I watch the show, is that people will say like, oh, it kind of makes us look bad, that kind of thing, which, okay, we can have a conversation about that. But what it shows to me is that representation and normalization and openness and acceptance has gotten to such a level that lesbians have graduated to
We're
be
just
able,
like everybody else.
right, to be treated like everyone else. Like as an Asian person, I will see this gradation over time where we're completely ignored for many decades, or we're completely exoticized. Then when we start to be accepted as normal Americans, initially we're coddled, where we're never allowed to be the bad guy. Mm-hmm. We're never allowed to have a nuanced representation. We're always like this perfect person who never does anything wrong, because white writers in Hollywood don't want to be racist. They're trying to be nice.
And then Beef comes out.
Right. But then you get things like Beef and other kinds of representations. Crazy Rich Asians is another movie where you have all sorts of Asian Americans, some good, some bad, some goofy, some stupid, some smart, some ridiculous, some romantic, some hot, some not hot. You get to be
Some
normal
gay.
humans.
Yeah.
And when you're when you have a reality TV show and you're shown to be human like everyone else, you know that society has reached a certain rung on the ladder. We have more to go, but I would we have seen a show like this 20 years ago? No way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And or it would have been coddled, like they would have edited out all the bad parts because they would be afraid to make lesbians look bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they're just like, you can look however you're going to look. We're just going to document it. So, I wanted to say that I have an outsider's point of view and maybe a biased point of view. I'm sure I have a biased point of view, but every reality TV show has a different approach and culture regarding manufacturing drama and lying to the viewing audience. And this show and Love is Blind, Ultimatum and Love is Blind, is made by the same production company that Netflix hires, you know what I mean? And I have people who work on the shows who will tell me what's going on, and I trust them because they're not allowed to talk to me, actually.
I know. Can I just say this is so sexy that you have like secret?
I know.
I was like, I feel like just getting to know you, that you know these secrets, is overwhelming to me.
It's really cool because most other podcasters or journalists wouldn't have access like this because they don't have fans. You know, like the like the people who work on the show.
Yeah, listen to the show.
Right, they're fans of mine, so they kind of have this trust of me to begin with or something.
It's so cool.
Right, and I love that because in order for me to analyze what's happening, I need to understand at least some of the context as to why, where they're operating from. You know, we have to consider the broader system, the camera people, the production. So from my understanding of Ultimatum and Love is Blind is that on paper anyway, at the top, Chris Colin, his culture is one of, let's make an entertaining show, and this is a reality TV show, and we're doing this to make something that's salacious and exciting.
And make dollars.
Right. But we're also trying to create as close to reality as possible, and we don't want to interfere. We don't want to
script.
Right, because there's enough drama in the scenario that you just have to get out of the way. And we're going to be there.
And they're clearly very successful in it. I mean, it's wild to think like these shows will never leave us. We'll always have these shows.
And again, it's not like that. I've heard that with Bachelorette and Bachelor, everyone basically understands that these people are not actually going to get married in the end. You know, it's just kind of like a game show in a sense.
Big circus.
Whereas Ultimatum, especially season 2, Queer Love, actually kind of worked. People had the ultimatum, they went on the trial marriage, and it did clarify. I mean, AJ and Brittany were more, they got engaged. I think there were 4 engagements out of 6, out of 4, and I trust a lot of those engagements. You know what I mean? And Love is Blind, there's like 16 plus people married with kids.
That's wild.
So, and they didn't even know each other prior to going on the show.
Yeah.
And they'll also not invite people on Love is Blind to the getaways who are obviously the favorites because they have a lot of drama, but the producers determine that those people aren't legitimately trying to get married. Another show would say, well, we don't, who cares? Drama. So I think that the production, there's pros and cons to that. On the con side, they didn't engineer the couples enough. They didn't get involved enough. They I think they stayed out of the way too much with the cast and didn't guide them and say, I want you all to understand in these trial marriages that the expectation is that you're going to go for it. You don't have to, but that you all should give each other permission in your trial marriages to do this, because that's the point. You don't have to, but it's not going to work very well if you're going to require your original partner not to get together with this trial marriage person, or at the very least, you should have that conversation. I don't think they engineered that among the cast because they're hands off. And I think that creates a lot of confusion. And maybe production wants that, people might say that.
I also think that people will sign on to that in the moment. Like, yeah. And then when they actually see it happen, I mean, that's what you see in the show.
That's with Brittany in particular, yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
So if they had been okay with it, that would have been called compursion. If you're happy to see your partner with
compursion?
Yes.
What's that?
Compursion is when it's the opposite of jealousy. I don't know if it's the exact opposite, but it is. a different end of the spectrum of jealousy, that you are fine seeing your partner, even you enjoy seeing your partner with someone else because they are receiving pleasure, and them receiving pleasure makes you happy.
Compursion.
I'm so excited that I get to introduce a term to Dr.
The feeling of joy one has experiencing or witnessing another person's joy. Okay. So it's not necessarily with sex.
Right, but it is very popular in the swinger polyamorous community, whether or not you are experiencing compursion. It's a popular concept to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum with polyamorous people in a good way about this concept, but I've never heard that word before. I like it. Compursion.
Yes.
It doesn't really sound like what it means, though, but whatever.
Maybe you can come up with a new word that sounds like it. I don't know what that word would be, but I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
But I think this is an important concept, that you don't have to land on jealousy. There are other feelings that you can feel, but it's, jealousy is what we're taught to feel.
Right. Having said that, I've worked with like fully 100% polyamorously oriented people, and they still will occasionally feel what could be called jealousy when they're too exposed to their partner's dalliances. It's one thing to know that your partner had a date with someone else and might have gotten together with them because you talked about that prior, but it's another thing to like watch a videotape of it when that's not a kink of yours. You know what I mean? There's a level of distance where you can intellectually understand. It's sort of like with my wife, I intellectually completely understand that she has had sex with other people before she met me, and probably a lot, with a lot of, I don't know how many dudes, but, a fair amount. And that doesn't bother me at all. But if I were to watch a videotape of it, whatever the opposite of compursion is, that's what I'd be feeling. So, it depends on on what you're being exposed to. But, and I think that's another element of Ultimatum that is maybe what production sort of engineers, is that there's a fair amount of, oh my God, across the room, my partner.
Yes.
And that's too hard. I think they should,
especially when they're not going into this. So I thought what was really interesting about the threesome show, where committed couples who want to try being in a threesome, or did you watch that show?
Is it thruple something?
Thruple.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sex therapist on that show, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting dynamic. They show these kind of group therapy, sex therapy sessions.
Right. The thruple show is you have a couple, and then they match them up with a bunch of singlets who are looking for a couple to become a thruple with, and then you document how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that show, I mean, I'm always wondering where therapy falls into any of this. And that show is the first one that I saw where you really, the sex therapist is really part of the show.
Well, you know what they say about polyamorous people versus swingers, that swingers like to have sex and polyamorous people like to talk about having sex.
Touché.
Well, polyamorous people say that. That's
no. Polyamory takes more communication. If you think you're just getting into it for the hot sex, you're wrong. You're really getting into it for the endless processing. Oh my God, my necklace just broke.
Your necklace just fell off your body.
That's so crazy, because the other day
you were talking a little shit about polyamory, and maybe your necklace is like, fuck you.
Well, so the other day, my watch, I was at the grocery store, my watch doesn't just fall off, like this clasp here breaks, the watch falls off, hits the floor, the back pops off, and the battery pops out.
It's like a complete explosion.
Yeah, and I was like standing there in shock, and someone was very sweet and like came by, but I thought my disaster of the day had happened 10 minutes earlier because my Roz Chaz button had fallen off, and I was so sad because I had so enjoyed that show, comedy show. Shout out to someone else who's also very funny. Roz Chaz is the illustrator. Roz Hernandez is the comedian. So I lost my Roz Hernandez button and my watch in minutes, and now I'm losing this necklace. What's going on?
You're literally falling apart.
As my client so wisely said to me, living under fascism is exhausting. And I would agree. My jewelry's all pooping out on me.
Pooping out.
So I just want to say, I don't have time to do it, but you sent me a list of the most intensely intense questions. And you're like, we'll get to both. And I both texted you and emailed you. And I was like, we're doing both? Look, I don't think we're going to get to both.
I was hoping to, but we ran out of time. So we'll have to do this next time.
There's a really powerful list of questions. Any of those questions could take a full show, but we will try and power through.
When people email in to you,
they're like really intense. I'm like, do other people get like
people don't ask Bob these kind of questions?
Yeah. So we've got questions about
Gaza.
We've got questions about trauma. There's some big ass questions in that list.
Yeah.
But I'm here for the people. So
next time.
And
until then, take care of yourself, because
it's really hard out there and we like you a lot.